into darkness. Welcome back to the show. Amid a U.S.-imposed oil blockade, yesterday Cuban officials said they have reconnected the country, but a lot of Cuban Canadians say trying to reach their relatives on the island is very difficult. They say the blackouts have made it very challenging to send supplies, food, or money. Joining us now with his perspective, Eugenio Landeiro Reyes, who's a member of the Cuban Canadians Coalition. He lives here in the capital. Good afternoon and welcome back.
Thank you so much for inviting me again.
How have things been going from your perspective since the last time that you joined us on radio?
Since the last time, unfortunately, it's hard to say, but yeah, worsen the situation. That's what the only description that I can do close to reality is worsen. We were not expecting anything to go better because the same stubborn and dictatorship regime is still in place, so things are not going to be better until we change that.
How much have you been able to talk to your loved ones?
I got some connection with the family, and it's very not too stable, the communication right now. Of course, you have blackouts, and then you have those little time and little power on the towers for the communication in English and in the internet. So it's very hard. It's going to be harder and harder because they're going to have less time of electricity, less time of power in their equipment, and it's going to be a challenge for sure. We use text a lot, we message a lot, and then that's kind of a better way today. Communication, person to person, and video, very hard to establish. So that's the situation that we are dealing with. Yeah.
And when you do talk to them, do they tell you how they're sourcing food, how they're managing with fuel?
That is a conversation that is been coming to the scope for so many years. We have a specific type of crisis right now, but we've been dealing with this so many times, and so many times have been repeated in the history of our country in the last, 20 years, especially 25 years more. It's been complicated. We always have some. Since ex-Russian fuel disappeared in the 90s, Cuba have been passing through harsh times, and sometimes we come back to something a little bit better. But of course, depending from the outside, not developing our infrastructure, not trying to find better solutions, and not even engaging our Cuban community abroad. Of course, because of ideological difference between us and the government, that what makes our country get into the situation that they are. Canada have been supplying help. Canadians have been helping a lot. But you reach a point of no return because what happened, our country have been exploded. Or the money that had come to one pocket and not to be developing infrastructure, restructuring, everything that need to be fixed and renewed. That money hasn't come to that. That money has come to the pockets of one family. And to build more hotels when we don't have tourists coming to them. Yeah. So that's the situation. We're not going to have a better country until things change completely from the perspective that this current regime is imposing in our people. And then, on top of that, it's always blame on someone else abroad.
I've seen reporting of Cuban Canadians that have spoken to family members or friends that are there who are saying we are living on chickpeas and rice. That's pretty much it. We're rationing, or we're getting households together and we're cooking up what we can, but that they really have very little food, and what they can store in their refrigerators, they have difficulty cooking because of the fuel shortage, or if they're able to find alternative fuels, they're very expensive because the cost has gone up sharply.
It is true what being reported. It's a very complicated situation. It's not something that is far from my experience. I did pass that moment some time ago in my country. As I mentioned, this moment, things like situation could be happening from 3-4 months, whatever, when the current government of the United States started. No, it's not exactly that. We have been passing through these cycles many times in the past. Now it's one of them. It's a sharp one. It is very hard because right now, since the Venezuela regime also fell, and now there is no communication right now to support the other regime in Havana, there is less oil coming to my country. I mean, less transportation, less resources for many other things. But it's not that tomorrow you're going to bring tankers and tankers to my country and you're going to have electricity in every corner of the island. That is not going to happen. And the reason it's not going to happen is because the infrastructure that's supposed to supply that electricity is not in place.
Yeah.
It's not working properly.
Right. So
And
even
that's
if
the
you send
situation.
money, let's say you're to transfer money and a family member or friend were to go to an ATM, it may not actually be online. They may not have the electricity to take the cash out.
Not only that, cashing something in my country right now is a big challenge. They have been centralizing everything. It's not like you go to the Dominican Republic, you go to Mexico. In every corner, you see those private sectors and offices that you can exchange money. That doesn't exist in our country. And why it doesn't exist in our country? Because ideology. It's an ideology that doesn't help the country. It's an ideology that has been putting our people to the situation that we are today. The biggest island in the Caribbean and practically one of the poorest right now. It made no sense. That is only because we've been under a regime that only care about their belief, their wrong belief, because it's a very criminal ideology that punish whoever says something little or else than them. So that's what happened to us. It's a critical situation economically. It's very hard to see our family and friends suffering that. We've been suffering that in the past, the ones that live abroad. We know about that. But we also know that this situation, the core, is a political situation. Our country, it's time for our country to pass to the 21st century. We need to leave behind that communist idea, that communist ideology that has not done anything good for our country.
I always like to ask you how listeners can help because we've got a very generous audience. And I do know that people will text in and they'll call in and they'll want to know how they can contribute. Is there anything that they can do?
Canadians have always been trying to help. I've been searching since the last time we had interview about some groups that exist all over the Canada, our province, that they're trying to help. But right now, not even flights are coming to Cuba, so less resources in our hands to go. It could be a government thing that they can manage to bring support and help to Cubans, but something that goes back directly to Cubans to the ground, because whatever passed to the government, we always have our concern where the final step of those things will go. So we encourage people to continue helping the friends, the family there, however they can. It's always will be welcome. It will be much better and more effective when we have a better and more engaging government in our country that will find solutions and not problems, that find no more justification for their failure, find solution to fix the situation that we have in our country. And there are many solutions available. We have shipping coming from Canada. We have many things that can come from Canada, from Mexico, from the United States, that United States, Miami area support our country in many, many ways. So I encourage everybody who want to help by trying to make it just to reach to the people, because that's what the need is on the people in the streets.
In closing, what did you think of the president's comment on Monday that he said he might have the honor of taking Cuba? He said, I mean, whether I free it, take it, I think I could do anything I want with it. How did you interpret that?
At this point, what we can say is if United States wanted at any moment to take my country, it would be very easy. We know that mathematically and by military force would be easy. It's not exactly the intention of our country to do that. The say of one or other person not exactly need to mean whatever the words of expression. I think he's trying to just pass a message that someone beside him who has family had suffered from communism have bring the attention to him. And as he mentioned, some Cuban friends he also have in the community that bring him the stories. So in the way he said that, it's like taking from the communist regime, like disappear that government that doesn't help the people, that always criticize everybody and find justification and the same lies every time. Right now, they're trying to engage us to come and invest there. I can tell you one thing. In 2019, the actual and current foreign minister said he doesn't need any penny from us to help Cuba in 2019. And today, they are begging us to come. The problem doesn't come from Trump. It doesn't come from Marco Rubio. It comes from within my island. The place where I was born is being mismanaged. That's a solution. if the United States government help us to take over that regime, it will be helpful for everybody, including for Canadians.
Thank you so much for the time again today.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Eugenio Landeiro Reyes, a Cuban Canadian who is a member of the Cuban Canadians Coalition. He lives here in Ottawa. On Monday, Cuba's election